Welcome back to this year's chaperone training videos for Frassati Fest. Pause for a minute and go find your Frassati schedule so we can go through the schedule for the weekend. I'm just gonna fill my cider here for you because we're gonna sit down and stay a while. Check-in on Friday will be from 5 to 7. If you're gonna be right at 5, let us know so we can have all of your stuff ready for you. Other than that, the next thing you have to be at is 7:30 in your small group rooms. Make sure you plan for enough time to get to the hotel, find your rooms, and settle in before the main session starts. After we're in the small group rooms, the small group leaders will let you know what time to be into the general session. Make sure you're listening to them and ready to participate and follow them because we need everyone in the main group room before our keynote can start. In that main session, as you'll see on the schedule, we'll have a keynote, a testimony, and some fun get-to-know-you games. Make sure you're participating and following along with the teens. We don't just want to watch. At the end, the MCs will dismiss you to parish time. Please make sure to have all of your teens there and let them know ahead of time where you'll be having parish time, because as you saw in your room assignments, not everyone is in the same room. If you'll notice on the schedule, midnight is lights out. We need you to respect that time and make sure you end parish time early enough so that they'll have time to get back to their rooms, get ready for bed, and settle down after starting the Frassati Fest weekend. Next, my friend Shane is going to tell you all about the Saturday schedule.
Hello and welcome back to Saturday. You finished day 1 of Frassati Fest. Now we're going to talk about day 2, so make sure you're still looking at that schedule. It'll be helpful to follow along as I walk through. It starts off with Saturday morning. There's a hot continental breakfast downstairs in the main room. That will begin serving at 8:15. So you're welcome anytime between 8:15 and 9 to get you and your parish group down there and through the breakfast line. It's important to get there through before 9 because that's when the general session round 2 begins. Just like yesterday, the general session will happen in that main room. There's some fun games, get people moving, get people woken up. Don't worry, it'll be gentle. And then it'll begin this general session. The main keynote is actually separate men's and women's talks. So the men will go with our male keynote speaker and the women will stay right in that room and they'll have their own keynotes, which include some testimonies. When those are finished, we come back into the main room for some more fun games and some announcements. Now, you can see on your schedule, right after that general session, there's a long break. That long break is up to you to decide. Please remember that Saturday's lunch, right at the beginning of that break, is on your own. So the parish, you should have planned what you want to do that Saturday for lunch ahead of time. Keep in mind though, if your kids want to be in the choir that next day on Sunday for Mass, they can stay in that main room and then just join your parish later for lunch because that's when choir practice happens. So you go back to your main room or wherever you have lunch planned, and then that afternoon is open for how you want to do it. So if you choose to go to the water park, your kids can go, you can stay in your room and play games. That whole afternoon is up for you. The next thing you need to be at with your parish group are one of the breakouts at 3:45. Now there's several breakouts to pick from and you can split up. Just make sure you know and your kids know where everyone will be at 3:45 for that first breakout. Now you can see on the schedule, there's a window between 4:30 and 5:30. So that first breakout will end at 4:30 and you don't need to be back to the next thing until 5:30. As you can see, once you hit 5:30, there's really no breaks in between. So it's sometimes recommended to come to that breakout room dressed and ready for dinner if you don't want to run back to your room to change between the breakout and the small group room. However, if you feel that an hour of time is enough, you can just come to that first breakout room not ready for dinner, and then right after the breakout you can head back. However, if you choose to come dressed, you sure can. That breakout room will end at 4:30, and then you just need to be back in the small group room, the one you started in Friday night with those high school leaders. You need to be back in that room at 5:30 for some more games. Now, it's important that you're in that room at 5:30 because the games and those icebreakers will begin in that country. The Olympics battles will begin again at 5:30 in that room, so it's important you're there in time. From those small group rooms, your high school leaders will lead you into the dinner room at 6 o'clock. This year it's a seated dinner again, an Italian buffet, so come hungry. From dinner, the MCs will lead us right into the back into the main room for adoration and confession. That will all be guided. The MCs will give through the walkthrough instructions before that prayer time begins. You'll notice that there's a block of time scheduled for adoration and confession. If this is running efficiently and adoration and confession comes to a close in time, there might be that block of window still open that will slide in parish time. Now, if adoration confession does go long, or it does take the time we expect it to, we won't do parish time. We'll just go right from there into the dance party. However, in years past, we've kind of run it efficiently, and we have time to put parish time in between adoration and the dance. But stay tuned, the MCs will announce, just be ready to parish time right after adoration. If there's not, or if there is, the dance will begin at about 9:30 in the room where we had dinner. There'll be some appetizers and snacks and fun dancing and hang out, and it's kind of a fun end to the night after adoration confession. After that, should there have not been parish time before the dance, we still ask that you put parish time in before you go to bed. So if you need to leave the dance early, while it might not be the most popular option to do, that's okay, and we recommend it because we want you to have quality parish time before bedtime. And remember, bedtime is still midnight, even though the dance goes pretty late. We just want to make sure lights are out at midnight. That's Saturday.
Sunday. We're almost done, but we're not done yet. Make sure that you're paying attention and following along on the schedule. We have a lot to pack in before we're done this afternoon. To start, we have breakfast alone with our parishes in our rooms. But during that breakfast time, you need to make sure you're packing your things, cleaning the rooms, and getting everything down to your cars before the general session at 8:30. If you have parents coming to drive your teens that aren't here at Frassati Fest, there will be a room for the teens to take their things because we do have to be out of our sleeping rooms. The general session will be similar to how yesterday started, where there'll be a keynote, some opening introductions from the MCs, and then we'll split for the next round of breakouts. During these breakouts, there will be an adult one offered, so please consider going to that one instead of the breakouts given for the teens by the Camp Gray Salt missionaries. During the breakouts, the teens will also be given evaluations to fill out, but the adult ones will come later after Frassati Fest and they will be emailed to you. Following the breakouts, we'll come back to the main room for another testimony, some final announcements and thank yous before preparing for Mass, which will be held in that main room. Now for Mass, there's no need to dress up. Please have your teens wear the Frassati Fest shirts that they were given on Friday, but have Mass appropriate bottoms on. Mass will be celebrated by the bishop at about 10:20, which will take us right to the end of Frassati Fest. We'll watch a final video showing all the fun we had for the weekend, and then we'll say our goodbyes and head out. It's okay to let your teens say goodbye and kind of dawdle their way out, but then make sure to get on the road at a reasonable time so that everyone can get home to their families and things to wrap up the weekend. We have cleaning taken care of, so there's no need to offer to help or take anything down. We have plenty of people scheduled to do that. All you need to worry about is getting your teens out, packed up, and on the road. There will be a video to follow to give you some tips for what to do with your teens post Frassati Fest and how to keep that fun and energy going throughout the year. Thanks, guys.